Buddy, you're a team on the rise, sharing knowledge every day, preserving wisdom in the cloud, never letting it fade away. You got insights on your mind, big plans for the crew. Sensay's gonna capture it all someday. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. Buddy, you're a new hire, feeling lost, asking questions in the hall. Chatbots got the answers now, lifting you up tall. You got handovers in your hand, fast ramp up coming through. Sensay's gonna empower you someday. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. We will, Sensay you. Feel the peace, the joy, the fall. One more loss just grows, we know. Buddy, you're a leader, saving costs, boosting efficiency high. Knowledge base is locked and secure under the endless sky. You got the world in your grasp, the emotions running true. Sensei's adding value all someday.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this week's Sensay Community Call. I am Dan Thompson, the founder and CEO here at Sensay. And for anyone who's joining us for the first time, Sensay is a company that actually produces one of the only offboarding and knowledge transfer tools out there that effectively captures tacit knowledge from retirees, from people leaving companies, and passes it on to new people who are joining as a way of speeding up their learning, their on-ramping, and helping companies to keep revenues up, avoid time spent trying to search for information, and basically just enabling knowledge and wisdom within companies to compound and evolve and almost become immortal. We typically target companies that are 500 to 5,000 people with a sort of annual churn of anywhere from 5 to 15%. Normally in North America, Europe, Japan, and South Korea. This basically means that any company can actually use our service. It's $500 per knowledge base, so that's per person sort of leaving who transfers the knowledge. So it scales up massively, it's very affordable, and captures that valuable insights and wisdom that otherwise are left out when people don't want to do handover documents. They don't want to do exit interviews. We make it super clean and simple for them to do that. Today's going to be a bit different than usual. We don't have a special guest, and in 2 weeks' time, we actually have a showcase for the winter just before Christmas, and our sort of Christmas time Q&A and call. So what we're going to do today, since there won't be one next week, is we're actually going to do a special classic style AMA session, enabling anyone to ask questions to me and our head of community, Lars, who we'll bring up shortly. So if you are watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or connected into our Telegram or Discord, if you ask questions, we will try and bring up as many as we can today. And so yeah, feel free to ask. We will see the questions coming through. We're going to bring up some of the best ones throughout as we go. So please, try and ask genuine questions and genuinely interesting questions. The better the question, the more likely we are to bring it up, and the more relevant to our sort of target market ideas. And if there are genuine ideas as well that you guys have as to how we can improve the business, those will be great to pull up as well. So there are some prizes for questions today, and so we'll follow up with how to claim your prizes after the call at some point. We'll be running for about 45 minutes today, I think, depending on how good the quality of the questions are. So do your best to ask questions, and let's let's get some of these started. Hi, Lars. How are you?
I am great. I am sitting in the most excluded area in the Philippines that I've been to. I literally come down here and I didn't have phone signal, so I scrambled about and I, within one day, had a private people come in install Starlink for me, just so we can make sure I can actually be on the call. So actually, I'm sitting on Starlink for the first time ever. I've been in the Philippines a couple of times, but it is amazing. I am sitting here and my missus is sleeping. The whole family is sleeping. It is 11 o'clock down here.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've got some exciting news coming up anyway, right? So, yeah, I mean, two completely different time zones. You're in Philippines. I'm over in Latin America right now. So, yeah, opposite sides of the world. Literally, it's like, I think,
Completely.
it's midday here, 11 p.m. there. Anyway, so thanks for joining and thanks for helping us out with questions today. So, I think we probably have we've seen quite a few questions coming through already. So thanks for sending those in. So I guess we can get started with today's Ask Me Anything.
Exactly. And for once, they can actually ask you anything. So, Leoton, Sophie can interview any department parting employee, but can she catch the silent context? The why we didn't did things this way? How do you ensure tactic culture survival of offboarding? Well, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, so Sophia is our new agent that works with people to help with their knowledge transfer. And Sophia's been designed in a way to interview leavers in a way that is friendly, approachable, and not, kind of with the sort of hidden agendas that an HR manager might do. Also, the way that she's being trained is to ask the right questions. So instead of having a HR manager interviewing, let's say, a software engineer, where they don't quite, necessarily ask the right questions to get the sort of tacit knowledge, the understandings, the know-how out of the software engineer, Sophia's been designed so that she's adaptable to the person. And the way we do that is fundamentally when a new knowledge base is created for a particular lever, the context of who they are in the company, what the company does, and a bit of a background search using AI. Using AI basically enables the Sophia to gather the data about them from the company side, from their online presence like LinkedIn, and tailor the interview questions to them, their job role, job description, as well as understanding who they work for, who works for them. So it means that the questions that actually get asked are hyper specific to that person and not just generic sort of rubbish. This means that over the course of anywhere from 50 to 100 questions, plus the documents that you upload, you get this kind of understanding of process and systems, and not just the sort of what it is you do, but it's the how and the why that you do it. That's the really important part. So yeah, that's a good start. Great question to start us off with.
I see there's a lot like it coming in as well.
Yeah, loads coming in now.
So Joshu, how will Sensei maintain defensible differentiation against large language model providers that may soon offer basic offboarding interview feature as a standard capability?
Yeah, great question. And very good that I am making notes. I saw some questions coming through, so I saw something that gave me an idea. Yeah, so how do we remain defensible? So actually, funny enough, the technology isn't the part that becomes defensible here. It's actually the understanding. So we've been building virtual humans for the last 2.5 years now, and I've been writing about it for the past 10. So we know a lot about how to create virtual humans and digital replicas of people, and actually how to capture and preserve and share that knowledge. And it's something we've been working extremely hard on. So we've got a bit of an advantage in terms of our understanding of how to get that information from people and make it useful to teams and other people going forward. But fundamentally, the differentiator is actually, once we get into the companies, is actually if we're the first ones in there to get that tacit knowledge out of their head, information that's not in the documents, it's not in the documents, it's not in the systems, it's not in the internet, it's not in the LLMs. By using our system, it's unique. And so the data that we actually manage to capture and can be accessed via our system makes us super sticky to companies and makes it very, very useful to teams going forward. So even though, you could create a basic offboarding interview using ChatGPT now. Even you could go and say, create a nice offboarding interview that captures this sort of tacit knowledge. It's how do you incentivize the people? How do you capture that in a way that's useful? How do you integrate the different systems to make it useful and then deploy it in a way that people will actually use? So that's really, the differentiator there is just specialization and understanding of the particular product. And I think that's where a lot of companies and apps specifically will get a lot of value not over and above, but in relation to some of the larger LLMs that are all sort of competing and have massive costs and maybe don't actually make that much profit. Having applications that people can actually use and buy and have tangible results from really makes a big difference. Good question. Keep them coming, guys. There's some really good ones coming in.
Can the knowledge captured by Sensay be exported or integrated with existing KM systems via API?
Yeah, that's knowledge management systems. So the answer is not right now. We hope to in the future. So the plan is that we initially start by integrating into knowledge sources and HR systems. So this might be your Bamboo HR or Workday or Deal as part of your hiring and recruitment strategy, and then your knowledge systems like Glean, Guru, Google Drive, Notion, SharePoint. Taking that, that we put that into the Sensay Wisdom engine that we have, and then we throw the output to directly integrating into Slack, Teams, Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, wherever your team already lives and communicates, to make it as easy as possible for them. The integrating via API to existing knowledge management systems comes as a part of like a V2, if you will. So this is where we integrate with knowledge management systems, with learning management systems as well. So this helps with the new employees and into companies that have these systems already in place to learn directly from our system in an interactive format. So yes, there are plans for it, but not just yet. Good questions today. Loads of questions today.
They're streaming in. Some people are actually asking multiple ones of it. So Raymond comes in. Are the questions from Sophie generic questions based on the interview, or are they random questions?
Neither. So the questions that we get from Sophia they're definitely not based on there are some aspects of a dynamic interview, but they're also definitely not random. So I said this before already, but we take the context of the person's job, the company. So what the company does, and then what that person does for the company is important. So job role, job description, how that ties into what the company is, who they report to and who reports to them. All of this factors into like how we actually generate the questions. Once the questions are generated, the HR manager has an opportunity to review the questions to make sure they're relevant, add any specific questions that they would like to. And then after they've reviewed it, they can send it to the individual who starts going through the questions. But as they go, as they talk, they actually have this incredible dynamic nature of the questions. Whereas if they say something, the questions will automatically adapt in natural language to dig in on certain aspects. And as you go through the whole process, it can actually identify where the gaps in the knowledge are to ask more about those specific topics, so that it gets a complete understanding of the knowledge, so that the team going forward have access to that knowledge base and can ask the knowledge base instead of having to ask the person. So over 100 questions already, guys. Well done. That's incredible. Keep it coming.
It's crazy, all the ones running in right now. So Joshua comes again. As knowledge compounds over time, what is your strategy for governing knowledge synthesis to prevent the aggregation of contradictory or outdated information within the system? I have a feeling that's an AI comment almost.
It's a good question either way, but yeah, it's definitely a mouthful for you. If someone's put that into AI saying, ask the most complicated question around this. Yeah, so just ask the question. As knowledge compounds, as we collect and as we improve on the knowledge itself, we're actually working on a system where the managers of that particular position of that knowledge base will actually be able to update it live. This basically means that while you're in, let's say, you're talking to an old software engineer in Slack, and you're asking it about a certain deployment or a certain project they were working on, and it gives back some old or outdated information. Now, this would be a problem for someone new starting, because they'd be based off older info. So we're building in checks every 12 months to pass the managers to make sure that the knowledge is still relevant, but also the managers will have an ability to correct it live. So if the manager creates a correction for the knowledge that gets comes as a response from the knowledge base, then that will automatically update the knowledge base and the living documents that it's based on. So basically you end up with this really intuitive, interactive chatbot that updates itself when needed, learns, and is constantly evolving. So the knowledge doesn't get stale or outdated. Hopefully that was responded. That was a nice answer in a slightly easier way to understand than the question itself.
It is. There's a big difference. Sometimes, even though you know the words, just stumble over them.
Just as a reminder, guys, I mean, obviously there's lots of questions coming through, and there are some prizes today. To be able to claim the reward, you need to send us a screenshot of your account and of us answering your question.
Yes.
All right.
So
next,
Amelie, since the launch, what early metrics or feedback have you gathered on how Sensei offboarding reduces knowledge loss, say in terms of time saved or retention rates?
Yeah, great question. So we've been looking at this for quite some time. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different metrics we can look at. It can be the number of people who are actually willing to participate in offboarding procedures and handovers. It's the actual amount of knowledge that's collected, so the number of questions, the amount of data that's actually captured and preserved. For example, when we've been testing out with early clients, we've been seeing response rates of anywhere from 50 to 75 questions answered, with a minimum of like 20, 25 documents being uploaded. That's a huge amount of data that actually can then be preserved and kept as a resource around that person. So there's a lot of information that's there that wouldn't necessarily be otherwise, because otherwise they might have an exit interview and some kind of handover document and maybe pass on some of the training, which isn't really that useful. So in terms of actually the time saved in terms of knowledge searching and information searching and data searching, we still need to work on that a bit more for some metrics. It's only a couple of weeks old as a launch product, but yeah, we're already seeing a huge amount of data actually being put into the system as a way of capturing that, because the interface is so friendly and easy to use, and yeah, so we're seeing really strong results to begin with.
And I see the question just keep pumping in still. It's crazy, this. So, Leproy, since employees come from different backgrounds, accents, communication styles, and experience level, how does Sensei ensure the AI threats all inputs fairly and avoid developing bias?
You said AI threats all inputs, treats all inputs. How do we treat all input to avoid biases? It's not so much about bias. So this is where our system. Sorry for the alarms. Obviously, some trouble going on outside the window. There's not so much problem around the bias in terms of what we're actually doing here, only because the biases are usually a problem when you've got lots of data that influences the way that something would respond, or the way or how it responds. Since we're heavily focused on the knowledge itself and reproducing that in a way that's useful and actually referencing the source material, it's really not so much of an issue for us, because we're building in a way to actually dig deeper into the information to reveal the source of the knowledge, so people can go directly to the source of it to check. But it kind of removes biases in that way. It's more about simplifying the knowledge rather than creating any kind of biases. In terms of how we deal with different languages and cultures, different languages, we have 100 languages that we can service, but realistically, we're starting with English to begin with. different culture and different cultural attributes. Again, we will probably work on more and more, but starting with North America, Europe. So we're pretty consistent with what we know and understand already.
There we go. Is Sensei currently seeking outside investment or primarily focused on growth through revenue?
Yeah, great question. So obviously interesting to know. So we launched a new product, and for this, we are looking to scale at speed. And so yes, we are opening a new round, an equity round in the next 3 months that will help us to take us from 100 customers to 1,000 customers, which takes us up to around $20 million worth of annual revenue. So yes, fundamentally, we are looking for partners who can help us scale, who invest in HR tech and in AI technology, and who have access to networks that can help us succeed in B2B enterprise SaaS companies in the US. So big plans for the future, but we've got the right team and the right product to actually help us get there.
So full madness. I'm curious about Sophia's social skills. If I get frustrated or tired during the interview and start giving short one-word answers, does she notice? Will she change style to try and engage me or just keep plowing through the questions?
Yeah, so Sophia, I mean, again, this is where Sophia's a bit nicer. So you can do it over text or you can do it over voice. I should have said that to begin with. So Sophia, basically, you can do a voice-to-voice interview. So you can take it at your own time, whenever you feel like you can come back to it. You can do 20 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time. And it's designed to adapt to the person. So, it does learn from the person and kind of works with them. The questions aren't irrelevant and boring and stagnant. They are, pretty useful, interesting questions. So people usually are quite okay talking about themselves. So it'd be like, coming on a community call and talking for 45 minutes or 25 minutes or however long you feel comfortable. So no, the questions don't really get boring. You can always stop and start and then come back to it whenever you like. And it really does feel like a conversation. It feels like you're actually talking, to someone who understands what you do about what you do. And so, as that can get boring and tiresome after a long time, for short spurts of it and daily reminders and that kind of thing, it doesn't feel that bad. Everyone can jump in for 15, 20 minutes for a conversation, and the questions stay relevant, they stay dynamic, and they get updated based on the previous answers, as well as some of the documents and files you upload, so that the questions aren't just overlapping with the knowledge it already has. But good question. Thanks for that.
I bet we have a lot more of them coming up. Here we have full matter again. How does Sophia know what matters? If I'm a senior engineer, I have 5 years of memories. How does she decide which 30 minutes of information is worth capturing? Does she have a bullshit detector for unimportant information?
Yeah, great. I mean, this still kind of fits in with the previous point as well. So bullshit detector, I mean, to some extent, yes. But it's, let's say a senior software engineer of 5 years. Yeah, obviously one 30-minute interview isn't going to capture all that information. So that's why it's over a series. So, typically it might take 4 to 6 hours in total, but you don't have to do that all in one go. You can break it up over a series of calls, or you could actually have as or you could just have it as, if you have all the information in your files already, then it's not going to need that much sort of relevant questions. So it really comes down to the individual. It's very adaptive based on the questions that gets set up as part of the structured questions, the dynamic questions that come out to fill the gaps, but also the amount of data and information you actually upload and put in as a part of the offboarding handover. Everything else gets filtered through, so you only get asked relevant questions for information that might be missing. They're still not going to capture everything. It's still going to, miss things like any system. but we're working on improving that. But it's definitely better than what is out there right now, which is you having to think about everything that you want to write down and hand over, which unless someone, but having the prompt, having the self-reflection is great. And then we actually reward participants with the company can offer additional pay for it, a few extra days of pay, some kind of extra bonus for completing it and handing over knowledge. Or it can be, incentivized with, having that knowledge and having that translated into LinkedIn updates or CV updates or whatever it might be, that communicate what you've done in a really clear and concise format. But yeah, so the questions themselves, we try not to make them stale. We try not to make them boring. We try to make sure that we get enough questions in that are relevant to capture years of knowledge. We're targeting retirees, for example, that have been working in jobs for 20, 30 years. And so, we need to be able to capture those decades of experience and wisdom. Loads of questions coming through.
It's some heavy questions today as well.
Yeah, I like it. I like the good questions. Give me some philosophy.
So, Penguin, have you ever thought of creating a Sophia alter ego that would specialize in recruitment? It could save hours for recruiters going through hundreds of applications. Sophia would assess applicants, and experience could be much better for the applicant. And I can't see the rest of that question.
Yeah, me neither. I'm trying to scroll down to try and find it. Look, I mean, there are lots of different companies that are focused on onboarding and recruitment. That's basically the entire HR tech ecosystem at the moment, which is why offboarding is actually such an important, unique selling point and also gap in the market, because there are all these different companies that look at onboarding, and actually there are so many designing those kind of onboarding assistants and recruiters to try and like create a Sophia type experience for the onboarding. So the question, fundamentally the question is, would we think about doing it? We have thought about it, but there are lots of other companies who are focused on that. And so we're very happy to let them do it. And we will focus on the kind of end of life aspect of it, end of employment type side of the work life experience. It's something that we could do, but there are enough companies there that it makes it already quite crowded, and lots of different companies that are building in that space. So we don't want to try and compete with them. We'd rather focus on the knowledge capture and transfer, which is what we've been, experts in, and will continue to be so. So, thanks for the question. Yeah, I found the rest of that last one. It's for the better candidate as well. Replacing CV and cover letter. Yeah, look, it could be done. And the thing is, it's actually, I guess we do hear it a lot from some of the starting customers, is that, can this be used as like a contemporary assistant? So we get more of that rather than could it be used for onboarding. I think using the output for training is important, but we do get a lot of requests saying, can I just, have my knowledge to share with people who work in the company now, even if I'm not leaving? The answer is yes.
I actually had one of the same in DSC. One guy asked me, so I every time I go on vacation, I don't really take vacation because I have to be online 24/7. Can this help me? Yes, of course it can. And he already booked a meeting with Daniel as well, so that's even better.
Yeah, there's great examples. Going on long holidays, going on maternity leave, sabbaticals, that kind of stuff. There's plenty of examples of times where knowledge loss occurs without someone leaving as well. So there's loads of different applications for this exact same technology.
Yeah, and a lot of people, as soon as I mentioned knowledge retention, they're like, so can you tell us more? So I was sitting a whole night just blabbing about what Sensay actually does. It was crazy. I was so tired in the morning. I just slept.
Yeah. All right, what we got next?
How will Sensay handle different privacy laws like GDPR as the platform grows globally?
Yeah, good question. Pretty standard, but we are GDPR compliant. We are getting our our sort of our audits done for SOC 2 and PDPA in Singapore. So I mean, they all pretty much overlap in terms of requirements, but yeah, in terms of privacy laws, compliance, and how we handle and process data, we are compliant, just waiting on the audits to approve that, and then we'll be shouting it all about. But yes, fundamentally we follow all the correct guidelines for the target markets that we operate in. So many questions.
GDPR is a big thing because it's security, basically.
Yeah, there's weird ones. There's like the AI Act in Europe now, which is slightly more of a challenge, although I think they're toning it down a bit from where it was. And so yeah, there's basically we're staying abreast of all of it, and so we make sure that we are compliant and the team is aware of all of that going as much as can be.
And that's a good thing. It's important. So, well, again, who inside the team sets the final direction when there are disagreement about big features, and how do these internal decisions shape the long-term vision of Sensay?
Me.
I was about to say, like, you're looking at the man that actually does that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's unfortunately, for better or worse, and it's not something I take particularly lightly, but yeah, fundamentally that is what my job is, to figure out the right course of action and weigh up different decisions, whether I have to agree with them or not, and make the best one for the team and the company going forward. Quite often I will share my ideas with the team. We've got a very talented team, so luckily this doesn't come up too much. But yeah, I mean, if there's a decision, even if it's something I don't think is even if it's something that I maybe suggested something else to begin with, if someone's got a better idea, I'm always very open to that. So it does fall on me. It's but we have a great team, so very trusting of teams and individuals to make their own decisions for their different departments and their different responsibilities. So luckily, for the most part they do that themselves. But when there is something on the top end, then yes, it does unfortunately fall on my head to deal with. All right.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the toughest ones that is the hardest ones. So let's see. We have more coming up, right? So should we take 2 more questions?
All the time. No, we can. I mean, let's keep going. Why not?
All right. Well,
Sensay
have a mobile app.
Sorry, took me a thunder there. No, probably not. Not anytime soon, at least. In the future, when we develop out some alternative products, I think that there's an opportunity that we will be able to develop something towards a mobile app. But for now, with the offboarding, fundamentally, what we'd actually rather do is start building into the existing systems that people use, whether that's Telegram or Teams or Slack, and make the system operate directly in there as an individual app within those platforms. So I don't think we need to develop our own iOS or Google app for now. Maybe in the future, it will make sense to have one of the features there as a way of maybe the interactive nature. They download the app and they use it that way. But I think, we're actually, especially with the voice-to-voice interviews, probably just going to, work towards having, live phone calls. At the moment, it works as an interactive voice on our platform. But in the future, we'll probably work towards having that more directly into Slack or Teams and, create huddles and calls that way as a way of collecting your information. Also, even just the file uploads, everything, if we can get this all deployed directly into Teams and Slack as a bot, then it makes it even easier for the person leaving, so they don't have to go to a new platform, they don't have to sign in, don't have to remember where to go, don't have to use a whole new interface. They can just use it directly there. So that's why we're trying to simplify down as much as possible. All right, let's get a couple of last questions coming through. Guys, there have been so many questions today. Thank you so much. And if you have any other big ones, please keep asking. But yeah, we're gonna just do a last few now, round us out.
So OX Madness 1. Did you actually conduct a real interview with Sophia and a department employee? If yes, can you confirm how well it worked and whether the company was satisfied with the results?
Yeah, so for the last few months, we've been testing to get us to this point, and we're some of the earliest customers as well. They've obviously gone through the process already, and yeah, I mean, look, the reasons for this are there are so many different pain points around knowledge loss and around people leaving. I mean, no one likes doing handover docs. No one likes doing exit interviews. So by sort of taking away a lot of the weight and responsibility of that, and actually even for the person leaving, giving them a system where it becomes easier for them to handle it. Yeah. So, and there's some crazy statistics as well around how people are actually more likely to talk to AI than they are to a human. So what that actually results in is these interviews and these knowledge sharing that work exceptionally well, where they actually capture a lot of the information. The biggest issue is still around how do you incentivize people enough to actually participate and do them. But when they do, we're seeing that we get great results. So it's still a bigger problem around getting people who are leaving to participate, and we're figuring the best routes out for that. But fundamentally the actual results of when someone does participate are great because the system's so intuitive and friendly.
Let's see what comes up here.
Yeah, it's like a lucky dip, right?
Yeah, it's like a lottery. Like, what's coming up?
Yeah. Community Call Master Kevin is to decide which questions come up, and it's all a surprise for us. Nothing.
Sometimes
planned.
I'm quite scared. So, Salamat Bati, for enterprise, what does the onboarding and integration process look like? Will there be support for customer enterprise workflows?
Yeah, so it depends on whether the enterprises want us to deploy on premises or if they're happy using our cloud-based system. So when it comes to the onboarding process, they basically sign up with us. We have, it's early days, so we do a bit of hand holding. As they go through the sign up process, they log in with their email. And at the same time, we do a bit of background search on the company, right? So from the email, we can pretty much extract the domain they work for, and so the company they work for. And then that enables us to help pre-fill a lot of their information about the company. So I don't know why it's on my head, but let's say Mercedes-Benz signs up. Someone from Mercedes-Benz signs up and they create an account, and it has, John Smith at mercedes-benz.com. And what they then do is from that domain name, we would then obviously pull up the information on Mercedes-Benz and put it in as part of the company context. And this helps with the interviews and everything else. But the whole onboarding process is super simple. So it's about 3 to 5 steps that confirms on the information, gets them to put in the relevant contact information, and then they're live. They get to their dashboard and they can start creating knowledge-based interviews immediately. So you can actually be onboarded and live with our product in just a few seconds. Then they can start creating knowledge bases, which it goes through the process. And we've got videos for this on our YouTube as well. It's got it goes through to creating knowledge bases. You select the person, which is tied into your HR software, which pulls the information of what they do for the company, obviously what the company does, and who reports them and who they report to, and their job description if it's there. That interview then gets sent out to the person. The person goes through the offboarding, and then at the end, it comes back to the manager to say, is this complete? If you say yes, then at the end of it, you get this opportunity to deploy it as a knowledge base or as a chatbot directly into your messaging systems. But yeah, so the onboarding experience is super clean. For anyone who is interested in this or for themselves, their companies, you can reach out. We can book a demo. If you go to Sensay.io now, you can see plenty of links to book a demo in with a sales team, and they can happily walk through everyone with it. Just as a reminder, guys, for anyone who has had the question answered today, to collect a prize, you need to send an email to lars@sensay.com, so sensay.io, not .com.
Yeah.
I'm going mad today. Sensay.io with a screenshot of your answer being answered, and we'll be able to distribute prizes after that. Okay.
Even better, I think that was actually my spelling mixing up because I've been doing .com the whole week.
Yeah. I mean, easy mistake I have to make after 2 years. Lars, don't worry.
So, Emma, how does Sophia adapt interviews, handle niche roles like healthcare, financial, and are multimodal inputs instead of video screen share plan plan for 2026 to better capture the tactic knowledge.
Yeah, fundamentally, how to face that handle niche roles. So niche roles are slightly more of a challenge, but this is again where it fits into a part of the offboarding process as a whole. So with riskier ones like let's say healthcare, it's there's a bit more nuance to it, and so we're focusing on knowledge workers to start with. It comes down to the HR manager and their manager's questions that they add in specifically and what knowledge they want to get out of them. So we're focusing heavily on process, not necessarily that again, LLMs and the internet and everything else will have the specifics of, a particular bit of work, usually. But fundamentally, it's about the systems, the teams, the projects, the understandings, the know-how, the reasoning behind things. And that's pretty much industry agnostic. So yes, we will probably end up finding a couple of industries that use us more than others, and that's where we can really narrow down and become specialists for them, and actually then maybe even have a collective knowledge about a particular industry that we can then use some other way. The second
we
part
have
of
a question.
sorry. So
Sorry.
the second part
No,
about
no.
we're multimodal. So we already accept photos, documents, spreadsheets, PDFs, and video upload as well, and YouTube inputs and website inputs. In terms of what we're talking about with screen sharing and video input. So this comes a lot of the time when people talk about manufacturing and about how you could, or even anything like shipping, like capturing a captain's knowledge, and it could be something as simple as how to tie a certain knot. Now, that particular knowledge would be great if you can film someone and process that. And that's something we are going to be working towards, but isn't available just yet. So the video understanding, and this is just fundamentally comes from video processing and understanding. This isn't a problem we have. It's a problem with some of the background models that are out there. They are getting much better, and they are getting better at processing what's happening in different videos, but the overall quality isn't quite there. Screen recording, screen sharing, there is some aspects around like giving it some context of what you're doing, and so we will have that probably sooner. But in terms of processing videos is definitely a bit more of a challenge. So, but you're right, it will help with creating even better offboarding and better transfer of knowledge, because then from there you can go and create like PDFs and explainer, user guides, even live generated videos on how to do something. But yeah, we're not quite there yet.
So a little side question. So can you tell us more about the pricing of the knowledge management in Sensay?
Yeah. So knowledge management for us, the knowledge transfer is $500 per knowledge base. So in a company of let's say 1,000 people, they have 5 to 15% churn a year. That's 50 to 150 employees that leave in 1 year. So if we are creating at the bottom end of that, let's say we're creating 50 knowledge bases, that would be $25,000 per client for that 1 year. And this scales up. We were talking to a company the other day with 40,000 employees, 25,000 engineers, of which 2,500 of their engineers they'd be looking to do something like this with. That would be $1.25 million for one particular client. So it scales up from the very, very small end to the very, very large. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't just compound in cost every single year, because some of those knowledge bases might become more stale or might not get used, and we can highlight that for them. So what they can do at the end of the year is turn off a knowledge base so it doesn't cost them anymore, or we'll actually be able to merge the knowledge bases so you can just pay for 1 instead of 10 at that particular time. And that might be more useful for teams anyway, as a different service and different use case, but fundamentally for the offboarding, it's $500 per knowledge base per year.
It's not a bad deal at all, especially when you retain all that knowledge inside the company instead of losing it.
Yeah, I think one last question, maybe, if there is one. There's a few, but if there's a good one.
But will he pick the one you like?
Well, I don't know which ones there's so many I haven't had a chance to read.
There we go. Danchal, where does Sensay see itself in 5 years, and how will it continue to differentiate from emerging AI competitors?
Our question master is saying this is more philosophical. I think it's more realistic. Like 5 years is very difficult in the age of AI. If you'd asked me 2 years ago where we'd be now, we're probably in a completely different place to where I was expecting it to be, with different product and different different team, different everything. So 5 years is very, very difficult to plan out. In our projections, we expect to have anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 customers at that point, which takes us from 25 to up to the 200 million ARR in 5 years. It's a bit of a big dream, big ambition, but what that means is we've got a lot of hard work ahead of us, a lot of growth, and lots more problems, and lots more of those tough decisions that we've got to make along the way. I think in terms of differentiating, I think the goal is still the same. I think we're still working towards becoming the best at capturing and preserving and transferring knowledge out there. And that works on both individual, company, and even civilization level. So if we can do this really, really well for offboarding and the passing on of knowledge, we can understand the people who are leaving and customers the best, and how to incentivize them to capture and pass on that knowledge. Then we can do the same thing for people who are want to pass it on for their kids, their grandkids, on a personal level, across different industries, across different countries and cultures. So by passing on that, what we end up becoming is some kind of like digital AI time vault. No, what they call them? Not time machine. Anyway, one of those boxes you put in the ground.
Capsule.
Time capsule, that's the one I was looking for. Yeah, so we become like a AI time capsule of all this understanding and knowledge, and can pass it on to future generations to come. And that becomes super important in itself, and extremely valuable to ourselves and the people who use systems. So we're excited to be a part of that and keep building towards that, and hopefully that's we get the success that we're hoping for. All right, guys, I think unless there is any other particularly good questions that came up, I think that's probably time. So to give a bit of a tease of what's coming up the next few weeks, in 2 weeks' time, we've got a showcase coming up. So this is going to be a showcase basically highlighting all of the recent updates and the product. So we'll be doing a walkthrough. This will be a Christmas showcase. So at the same time, we'll be having a bit of a Christmas event around it, and lots of big Christmas rewards and participation in a way of participation in the way of like helping promote the events, helping promote the product. Lots of tasks and challenges around this as part of a sort of a Christmas showcase and campaign. And that will be on the 16th or 17th of December. So, keep an eye out for the announcement notification, and definitely get it scheduled in. There'll be some big prizes for Christmas this year. And hopefully we'll have a great time. So there won't be a community call next week, so no AMA next week. But yeah, definitely get yourself ready for the big Christmas event, where we'll be going through the latest updates, walk through the product, showing you what we've been building, and showing you what we've been working on for that. So 2 weeks time. Then we've got obviously a quieter Christmas period, same for everyone, and then we'll be back back with all the biggest updates in the new year. For everyone who's managed to join us today, we've got a bit of a special video to finish up with at the end. If you are interested in finding out more about Sensay and trying it out for yourself, go to sensay.io. If you have had if you're interested in looking at finding out more or contacting us more, you can find us at Ask Sensay on pretty much any channel, or myself at Sensay Dan. And this is on pretty much every social media channel, and there's people in our Telegram and Discord who are around 24/7 to answer questions for you, which is Lars and his team, so always available.
They are.
And keeping nice and busy. Did you manage to meet up with Mike this time?
So yes, Actually, Mike and Jilly, and we had one epic of a night. We went out for Japanese noodles, like wagyu beef and noodles and everything, and then we went to the clubs, and everybody greeted us. Everybody was having fun with us. We were having one hell of a night. And the day after, I went directly to the province. So I'm sitting out in the province now with my wife, um, and I'm enjoying the sunset photos here. Like they have a fishing village like 20 meters down here. There's like fishing boats and everything directly.
Sorry, did you say wife? You guys get married as well at the same time? That was quick.
Well, that's not what they say down here. They can stop calling wife as soon as
Wife,
you're
yeah.
together. That's like the wording down here.
Well, congratulations either way. All right, so I think if maybe we're ready, I'm not sure. If not, we can stall for another minute or so. Maybe we can pull up another question then. I think if we're not quite ready with the video to share just yet.
Oh, that's always the problem with a video, right? Never the right time. Well, I can share a picture I just took today. I showed with the team if it is. Ah, there we go. There it comes. So
Yeah.
Master said AY, in what meaningful way does Sensei transform the overall culture of offboarding within an organization, particularly in terms of transparency, collaboration, and continuality?
Yeah, so I think it's just changing up something that people haven't thought about changing in a long time, which is what makes it really disruptive, which what makes it so different and exciting for us and for customers, right? It's a problem that people have known about forever. People understand this problem. It happens in every company, big and small. Someone leaves and you just, a week later, you're just found scrambling, trying to think, oh, what were they doing? What were they working on? Or something happens and they just disappear, or they go, or they just leave for whichever reason, right? Holiday, maternity leave. And that knowledge loss is felt. If someone's working on projects people didn't know about, how do you, how do you actually get hold of that information? And it becomes expensive. People hire back people as freelancers, as consultants. They often pay like 4 times as much if they do, and it's expensive for companies. People spend ages trying to search for information, and new hires spend 6 to 18 months trying to ramp up. This is extremely costly. So if we can even dent that by 5%, that's a massive saving and improvement to companies. And I think we can definitely do more than just 5%. And so that's where the $500 per person really doesn't cost that much in the end, because it's relative to that sort of ability to up ramp someone new and search for the information quickly. Just makes a massive difference to any company out there in terms of value. So that's fundamentally why the I don't know if it will be changing the culture specifically, but it definitely makes a massive improvement in terms of the process and helps for HR managers and operators to improve the continuity, which is the big issue in succession planning. So good last question to end on. I think are we ready for we've got the video? Basically, guys, a couple of weeks ago, I was at Web Summit, and we managed to. I was giving a speech, so we're going to give show the video, and we'll wrap up there. So, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the showcase.
See you all around, everybody, and a Merry Christmas.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was like wondering, like this went very anticlimactic or something.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just going to cut us off in a second.
Oh, he is. Like, he's looking forward for it. Like, especially when we sit in conversation, just schluck one time.
And we're going to say, oh, and wait, I forgot to say something, and then just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, well, until then, that's just us just rambling away. But guys, thank you. Oh, go on.
No, please.
I was going to say to everyone, thank you for your questions today. I don't know, did you count how many we got through?
We got 17 individual questions plus the extra. So everybody that did 2 of them do not get a double up. So we had about 21 questions in total with the double ups.
All right. So 21 questions. Good. Nice. Thanks for the question, guys. Well done. So yeah, remember to submit them afterwards.
There we go. I see something
Hello to
buffering.
Web Summit.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
I
Bye.
am Dan Thompson, founder and CEO at Sensay. You can find our booth just over in the growth stand over here. About 8 years ago, I also wrote a couple of books on digital immortality and mind uploading. The concept of transferring ourselves, our consciousness, as a way of passing it on for generations to come. But today we're going to talk about how that relates to businesses around the world, organizations, governments. Every single day in the US alone, 10,000 people retire and up to 20,000 people leave their jobs. That's expertise from decades of experiences, systems, understanding of teams, clients, projects. They're just walking out the door, and we're really not doing enough to actually capture that valuable knowledge. It's costing companies, especially in the Fortune 500, $32 billion a year annually in the US. But it doesn't have to be that way. What we can actually start looking at is this concept of digital immortality for companies and for that knowledge. What do I mean by digital immortality? I mean taking the footprints of our technology, of our data points, taking our understanding, taking our documents, our files, our sheets, taking everything and combining that with our tacit knowledge, that know-how, that intrinsic experience and understanding of how we actually operate day to day. Combining that into some kind of living knowledge base and making it available for future generations to come. We've all been there. We've all experienced someone leaving a company. We've all experienced some expert in our team who's departed, leaving a massive hole, taking 6 to 18 months to actually ramp up a new employee to cover the loss. So how do we do this at Sensay? Each employee who's leaving or retiring will go into our system. They'll upload their apps, their files, their documents, their sheets, and it gets combined with a personalized AI biographer. So no more exit interviews, which no one likes to do. No more handover documents, which no one reads. Instead, you get a personalized AI biographer, which is a bit like having let's say a software engineer interviewing a software engineer instead of an HR manager interviewing a software engineer. You spend a bit of time with this AI. It gets to learn all about you, the processes, the systems, everything that you know how to do and how it keeps your company moving fast. We then deploy that directly as a living knowledge base straight into your existing messaging systems, Slack, Teams, WhatsApp, Telegram. This means that when a new person comes in to replace the person who's left, they've got quicker mentorship from the AI. They've got the quicker, faster on-ramping and speeding up and making sure that the revenues for companies aren't lost, the processes and systems aren't lost, and they've got a quick reference 24/7 of how to actually find the knowledge they need to get. Our knowledge for ourselves, for our companies, for our civilization is one of the most valuable assets that we have. Industries like manufacturing, utilities, telecom, shipping, oil and gas are watching this leave every single day. And over the next 10 years, millions of people will be retiring, taking lifetimes of experience and knowledge with them. It doesn't have to be that way. Sensay is working to capture, preserve, and share personal and institutional knowledge for future generations to come. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. We're not letting that knowledge leave anymore. What we're doing, we're building a future where wisdom doesn't disappear, where that knowledge doesn't walk out the door. In fact, we can compound it and pass it on to generations to come.